here has done something they're not proud of? Hands up. Everyone and the service pets too. Okay, fantastic. Let's narrow this down a little bit. Who here has done some work in their life that they would not want to put on their resume today? I think I can relate. When I was growing up, I was intrigued with the human mind. I'd also come to discover that in many cases, it had a lot of problems, so I was going to be a psychologist. Later on, I would become an ambassador. I would travel extensively and have worldwide experience. I would address beautiful crowds like this as beloved citizens, and they would respond, "Your Excellency." With such a perfect plan in place, let's see how I fared. My work experience began the year after high school. My first job was door-to-door sales. Oh, but I sold the heck out of those children's books and cookbooks. I could have sold you your own cat, dead or alive, and you would have paid cash for it, up front. Then I went on to whip up tasty meals and give out little samples in stores, and then wine samples, and then telephone sales, and then I was a temp receptionist. I even sold auto parts. But those first few jobs, admittedly, do wind up on our resume because they make us look mature and employable. We're still defined as students, though. Undergrad threw me a curveball. That psychology major had just been phased out. But I was told the marketing one, oh, that would appeal to my fascination with the human mind. All I needed to do was just start with the fundamental courses, and that major would be introduced any day now. And it was. 8 years after I had graduated with a business management major. But I did pick up some more work experience. Oh, I brought fun and flair to serving in the student cafeteria. I typed papers for a premium fee, which included free editing. And I also got to wash my favorite lecturer's car, gets about $20 a week, got to get some fresh bread, penicillin-free, mold-free. For my internship, I went back to Nissan Zimbabwe head office, where, amongst many things, I got to be an interim vehicle sales administrator. Now, that job, and only that job, would have wound up on my resume. Except we didn't use resumes. We used CVs, curriculum vitae, Latin for a walk through your life, not a hop, skip, and a cherry-picking jump of the jobs that you're proud of. No, every job and every gap has to be accounted for. I began to dread the question, so what do you do now? I'd rather talk about who I am and who I was going to be and how I would have worldwide experience and speak multiple languages. But I couldn't avoid the inevitable question, wait, didn't you study business management? So do you have serious plans? Oh, I see. Thank you, some of you, for cringing along. I refused to define myself as a failure. I was a professional, and I wanted to be seen as one. Heck, I dressed as one, and I spoke as one. Let's define some terms. A profession requires a degree or completed years of tertiary studies. It requires specialized training and sometimes takes many years. Think of doctors, engineers, lawyers. And when they're finished, they join the workforce by getting a job or an occupation. So an occupation is something you get paid to do. It's a job you get paid to do. So those professionals, students, skilled laborers, they all get paid a remuneration for something that occupies their time. Now, ideally, professionals will get a job in the area that they studied. But we all know life throws curveballs, right? Yeah, this generation has seen more layoffs and recessions and bubbles than a puppy that has ingested dishwashing liquid. Many of us have been forced to take any available work just to keep the lights on, pay the bills, stay out of debt, or just even to manage your debt. We're not failures. We have dignity in working because the work that we do does not define who we are. What you do does not necessarily define who you are. Maya Angelou said, "It's not what people call you that matters, it's what you answer to." Think about that. I did go on to get a marketing management job and then a marketing consultancy job in Zimbabwe. And then my MBA and my travels brought me this side of the pond, where I was alone and had to hit the ground running, so the cycle started again as I got the first job I could. And then I wound up being a French teacher in the Caribbean. Then 4 years later, I'm stuck in the US retail market and I'm trying to get out of this rut. I go visit a friend in Canada and I attended a resume writing workshop where I discovered something very interesting. Canadian recruiters look favorably upon someone who has had to take on any available work in lieu of government assistance or unemployment benefit. Those jobs that Americans don't want to do, they call that survival work. And it needs no further explanation. In fact, it gives you a nod of approval. So I started to wonder, what would it take for us to be there? What would it take for our recruiters to stop looking at our immediate work experience and start to look at who we've defined ourselves as and the journey that has brought us this far? Wouldn't that shift in mindset and values make us more adaptable as spouses, more supportive as parents? Heck, dating would be a doozy. I've now traveled to 21 countries. I've lived and studied in 5. I proudly speak 2.5 languages. I'm not going to focus on what I do today because it's not yet who I am. Who am I? Why, I am a global ambassador in training. And one day you'll be able to laugh when you respond and say, "Your Excellency," as you look back on this journey with me. But in the time being, please do feel free to help me practice beloved citizens. Thank you.